Hey, my name is Owen McCardle, and this is Methods to the Madness. Methods to the Madness is a series of discussions where I'll be speaking to businesses and individuals to learn what, how, and why they do what they do. Some of the things I love the most about my job and the events industry is the amazing people and experiences you meet and discover on a day-to-day basis. Unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, I haven't been able to do as much as I'd like to. Because of this, I decided to build a small studio in our office here in Ranelagh, so when it is safe to do so, we can continue to meet these interesting people. I thought this could be a genuine way for people to learn from others and give like-minded people the chance to be inspired to do different things. I'll be speaking to all sorts of creative people throughout the series, from company directors to concert promoters, chatting about everything from entertainment to the environment. This is part of our business that I plan to develop further as time went on, but due to the majority of our work being paused until further notice, things have fortunately been brought forward. On this week's show, I spoke with Keelan, Lynch and James Gavin of Grooveyard Event Management. Grooveyard is an award-winning event management agency and the only company to win gold for Best Event Management Company at the Event Industry Awards 3 years in a row. Grooveyard are responsible for entertaining thousands of people every year, from managing mass gatherings such as St. Patrick's Day Parade and Riverfest in Limerick, brand activations at festivals such as Electric Picnic and Longitude Festival, and for any Irish rugby fans, you'll be sure to have seen some of their work at the Guinness Six Nations. I'm delighted to have Grooveyard as my first guest on this podcast, and I hope you can take something from our refreshing conversation that we had. So let's see how we got on. So how are things anyway?
Things are good. Things are good. We're actually, believe it or not, we're actually working harder than we ever were. We were just talking about that today, about going back to the office. No one wants to go back to the office, basically.
Really? Yeah, you're finding it productive being there.
Yeah, you look. I mean, we're not doing what we love to do. We're not doing the live events. That's what it's all about for us. That's what makes people tick and keep them motivated.
Yeah.
But from a work point of view, people are being very productive at home in terms of, like, we're doing a lot of kind of development of the business, and we're actually pitching a lot for different brands and stuff like that. So it's a good opportunity to really get stuck into that. But, and updating our systems and kind of looking at different innovative ways of delivering, our objectives for the clients and what we do and how we do it. And, all our the back end systems that we haven't really kind of cleaned up over the last couple of years, that we've been so busy. It's just so when we get back out there, we're going to be hitting the ground running, hopefully. So, and it got everyone a chance to kind of collaborate a bit more, believe it or not, on Zoom. Like, because we have more conversations as a group now than we ever had. We're probably talking twice a day as a whole team, which is,
Yeah, it has really helped a lot of places, being able to get used to, I suppose, conversation online like this, I was sort of surprised. I was wondering how you guys are going to manage. There's obviously, I don't know how many people are still working with you, but there was about 15 or 20 last time I checked.
Yeah, there's 20 of us still in there.
So, it's still in around that number. So, like, that's pretty good going, I think, being able to manage from your home, that sort of team.
Yeah, well, our team are kind of used to working pods, so basically they'd have they'd be feeding up to the senior event manager their different pods, whether it's experiential or live or whatever it is. Right. So they're kind of used to working on their own kind of initiative and used to working, and then obviously from a group aspect, from a creative point of view and all that. But in terms of people being self-motivated, it's a funny industry because you have to have that drive. If you're not doing it really, you're doing it for the buzz of the events. Everyone in with us anyway. That's what I find, and the integrity and the kind of self-motivation is there. So, But in terms of communication, it seems to be we're communicating more now than we ever did, aren't we, Keelan? I think we are anyway.
Yeah. The one thing I'd say about it is there seems to be an awful lot of calls. You obviously have your company-wide calls, but then you've so many calls broken out that they all kind of stack up. So sometimes it's just trying to manage, James might need to jump on a call with me, but then someone needs to jump on a call with James. There seems to be calls everywhere, and you have to allow a half an hour for everything. So sometimes it can be difficult enough just to get stuck into that task in hand. But I think, as James said, we're constantly on calls to each other. I think it's great. We started doing this thing recently there, where James has gotten some of the juniors to chair the meeting, and it builds up a lot of confidence. You know, it asks the seniors the question, like, what are you working on today? You know, where are you with X, Y, and Z? So it's great for the juniors to just build their own confidence.
So if you were to go, like, to open the office again in Dublin, Keelan, would you have everyone back at the same time, or is it the type of thing, you know, you might have to do 1 day on, 4 days off, or something like that?
Well, I suppose James was just talking about that there today. I suppose he's the best one there to speak on that.
Well, Keelan, we definitely won't be having you back anyway.
No surprise there.
We're kind of leaving it up to people. Like, we never really.
Like,
have
I mean, if it's easier for some things to discuss projects, or be more hands-on, I suppose, for the issues that you are having to call every half an hour, every hour of the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of benefits, obviously, with having people in the office together and all that. But I think it will be kind of, the whole landscape may be different in terms of, will it be Monday to Friday, every day in the office? I think for some teams it might be, for some others it mightn't. And then for a kind of company-wide collaboration, we're looking at, 2 definite days for everybody. And then, so we're not really sure. Look, it's an emerging landscape for us, and it's great because we're getting to understand, things we can do differently. So it's kind of emerging, but I mean, that conversation is actually only starting, really, because we have kind of a bit of a roadmap now. We know where we're going. We're open to go back from the 8th of June, but we'll push it out to the 28th because we don't need to. It's not a necessity for us to work from an office. Yeah. So I think it's the 29th of June or something. So kind of we know where we're at with that now. So I think as we emerge, it's going to be a mix of both. I think it's going to be a mix of both, subject to what suits people as well as what suits our clients and what suits the projects. So every project is different, every client is different, everything. That's the beauty about what we do, is every single event is different. So that will be synergizing, based on what the event is and what the teams are, and work around that and what's best for the team, what's best for the various pods, and what way they want to do it. So sometimes when you let them decide, look, we're going to go into the office today, we're not going to be there tomorrow because it's going to be better off for us from a commute point of view or whatever it might be. So there's going to be a lot of more freedom, I think.
Yeah. And I suppose, I don't know, how you work it in your business, but financially, if you are using your office again, do you have rent to pay, or have they been frozen on you for the time being?
Well, we're fairly lucky because we own our building. So we have, we're in the business a while, so we built up a good kind of, we're not too reliant on talking to banks in terms of freezing stuff and all that kind of thing. Luckily enough, we've built up, we're around a few years. So financially, it's not really, it's not going to have an impact either way.
Okay.
And I think productivity, it's negligible, the financial impact. I think having the office here is going to be strong. Look, I'm all for getting people into the office together, and I think, but it's going to be a lot of, some people are more, it's all about the person. Some people are more productive at home. Some people are more productive in the office. Some people want to work in the office. Some people don't. So I think it's kind of finding those touch points that suits everybody, but suits the business as well. And now we've more freedom to try and explore that and kind of see how we get on with that. But financially, it's negligible, really.
Yeah. But
I suppose sorry, go on, don't.
Go ahead, Keelan.
Just from, I suppose, our point of view, with having an office in Galway and Dublin, we were kind of used to the virtual world before this all kicked off. We've had offices in Dublin, Galway, and we've a team down in Limerick as well for the last 5-6 years. So we've always had this virtual thing. We do weekly meetings where the two teams will meet weekly, but every day we'd always have a virtual call anyway. So there's nothing really new there to us in the virtual sense in the last couple of years. We're doing it anyways.
Yeah, regardless, when working together, you're fairly productive.
Yeah.
That's good. And I saw you, I actually just came across your website, and I know a lot of other companies are doing it at the moment. They're looking at virtual events. Is that, a thing at the moment? Are there clients, inquiring about that?
Well, I suppose, like, if we're honest, our bread and butter is events, but obviously we're putting that into a virtual space now. And we did an event there, Riverfest, which is one of our flagship events. And we made that virtual with the Heritage Green, did a live concert. We had over 66,000 views on that. Cecilia Holman Lee did a Fashion Friday, which is part of the festival that we'd usually run over the Maybank holiday. That had another 62, I think, thousand people watching that. And then we did this firefighting chef. He did a demonstration on barbecues throughout the summer. We did another 8,000 or something like that. So collectively, we had over 140,000 people tune in over the Maybank holiday for this event. So we're very happy with them numbers. It's the first time we've ever put Riverfest on a virtual platform, and the uptake on it was absolutely huge. I personally, anyways, was delighted to see them kind of numbers.
Yeah, I actually tuned into it. I saw most of the demonstrations you just spoke about, and in fairness to the virtual world, like the impact, the impressions, the amount of impressions you can, and the ways you can reach people online is staggering compared to physical events.
Yeah. Much.
And you've just opened to a global audience. Anyone in the world can tune in. So anyone, this is for the people that are behind the camera, for the people that are in front of the camera, for the people wherever they are in the world. You're creating. It's actually more exciting. Knowing that the whole globe, or people from not particularly for Riverfest, is in the whole globe tune into it. But there were, I think, 18,000 people outside Ireland tuned into it. I mean, which is a reach you're never going to get from a live perspective. But the reality is, we're all about live. You need live. You need that's what human interaction. We need that human interaction. Virtual, look, it's bridging a gap at the moment. From a demand perspective, from client demand perspective, it suits some clients, doesn't suit others. They're of the same, opinion as ourselves, and in terms of, look, how long is this going to happen for? Do we invest in a full, we use various platforms, and do we invest in a platform for a year, or do we just invest once off? So there are various, budgetary questions there from the client's perspective as well. But look, we're having a virtual meeting. You can do it for nothing as well. So it's all about how you want to scale it. From a big scale, big event, large numbers, and to run something seamless, you need a company like us. But from small team, everyone's access to Zoom. Everyone can do a quiz on Zoom. So, in terms of the value add for us and what we can bring to the table, it's only from the big scale.
I was wondering, you've got some clients. I know, is it JTI is one of them, who they'd have issues marketing around the world, obviously because they're tobacco related. Is that an issue that they would have with virtual events? I wonder, or is it actually easier for them to brand? Because the majority of their stuff is live, isn't it?
Keelan, or like.
Sorry, go ahead with that side.
I think, people are going, depending on subject to the brand, no matter what it is, if it's alcohol, tobacco, whatever it is. The platform is online digitally for these guys anyway. The more and more spend in terms of their investment is digital. So as opposed to live, and the live experience drives the digital. That's the reality of it. So from any of the brands that we work with, the content is going to drive the interaction. In terms of the legislation around the interaction, there's no major barriers no more than an alcohol brand, so there's no major barriers for them. They're not really doing anything, differently, essentially, in terms of from a legislative point of view.
Okay.
But these guys we're doing digital, with brands for the last 10 years. So in terms of virtual events, we're translating some events that we do, like Riverfest, from live to virtual, because it's relatively easy to translate that.
Yeah.
It's easy to do that for if you're doing a brand event at Electric Picnic, or if you're doing a brand event at Longitude. Probably not, because the EP itself, that's them. Live Nation, that'll be kind of their bag to drive that. As an agency for a brand that activates at it, it probably doesn't translate.
Yeah.
I suppose one thing on a lot of the kind of virtual events we do for these companies that you're talking about, it would be in-house. So it would be them and their offices across the globe that would be hosting an event for them in-house. You wouldn't have any issues then, because it's not to the general public.
Yeah, business to business, like so.
Okay, I get you. So in regards to the festivals, I know, Electric Picnic you mentioned there, James. How do you sort of see it for 2021? Like, I'm sort of worried that I just hope there hasn't been some major dent put into the industry, and we're all gonna be fucking out of a job or something. Especially with what we do structures and outdoor work.
Yeah. I listen. We got through the world wars. We got through the Spanish, flu. We got through, like, there was a pandemic in the 50s and the 60s. So I mean, the humans are resilient. Like, we're going to move on. It's always kind of the press. The press are all about sensationalism, making it as bad as possible. Worst case scenario. People are getting paid to say the worst. People are getting paid to say the most shocking pieces. The reality is, we'll move on from it. It's difficult for live for what we do at the moment, obviously. But I mean, it's a good time to innovate. But I'd be very confident that obviously this year is gone. That's the reality. But I mean, no matter, social distancing and events are never going to work. That's never going to happen, no matter how much talk there is about that, or how people try and fantasize within the industry. It's not really going to. They don't work hand in hand. So I think there'll be either, we're talking about a vaccine, or it'll be able to be controlled. Whether there will be immediate tests. So I mean, it's whether there's immediate tests for entry or exit or whatever it is to an event. So you get a test within 5 and 10 minutes, and people innovate, scientists innovate. I can see this is only 2-3 months old. Like, realistically, we're in what now? We're in May, so we got shut down in March. So it's 6 or 8. What is it? 8-10 weeks. So the whole thing is completely new. It's like anything that's hit any generation. Suddenly, it's always going to be panic, and press are going to jump on it, but we'll learn to deal with it, and it's going to be, things are going to, as far as I'm concerned anyway, things, as I say, this year is probably written off, but I can see things going back, and when they come back, I personally feel they'll come back with a bang. People have short memories, we're resilient, and things will just rock. That's the way I see it now.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Like, when we got shut down first, I was thinking, this can be brilliant. Give us 2 months and people will come back. They've been locked up for 2 months. They want to just go mad, but obviously it's going on a bit longer than I expected. In regards to the IRFU, I know you do a bit of work at the IRFU. Any idea if there's going to be any rugby played this year, Keelan?
Obviously there's talks at the moment between the November series and finishing off the Six Nations, and kind of waiting to see what other nations are doing behind closed doors. I know the Bundesliga is back this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. It's talks of basically playing everything behind closed doors. I suppose the catch then for us is to create an atmosphere within the stadium, but then also to create an atmosphere at home for the TV viewers, because they're the only viewers now. There's no one within the stadium, so we really have to make an impact. I'm sure you've seen some matches there this has happened before where some of the matches were really dull because there's no atmosphere within the stadium. So they're the challenges, I suppose, that we'll face, is creating that atmosphere for the players first and foremost.
Yeah, I always thought, like, whenever any sort of, stadium I was ever in, I always thought that it would be a good idea to, install PA systems around the place and just have a background, some sort of background effect, crowd noises or something, because there's stadiums out there where you're better off in just an open park than actually watching something,
Yeah, I suppose, look, it worked well for the UFC. They did it there recently. Everybody thought it was going to be a bit of a flop, but the UFC did the first behind the closed doors event, and it really gave you an insight into the game. But I personally think a stadium is all about the atmosphere. Like when you're in the Aviva and you have 52,000 people shouting, or whether you're at home but you're still listening to the commentary, which has all the thousands of people shouting, that really is what creates the atmosphere. So that's the challenge that we'll face. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. As James said, I think the way forward is, if we don't get a cure, is a quick test that you go in a line 5 minutes later. Okay, you're clear. You go on in. I think worst case scenario, I think that would be the way forward. But I personally would be looking forward to stadiums being open again for matches and having that buzz around the stadium. There's nothing like show calling on a match day. When you have everybody watching and you have the television and whatnot.
I can see. I'd say they'll be playing behind closed doors anyway for September, October. I think September, October. They're aiming towards that, and they're aiming towards trying to fit in 2 seasons into one. So I can see them playing. Now, obviously, this is what everyone's aiming towards that. Martin Murphy's ready to go, kind of. Behind closed doors with Aviva Stadium. So the IRFU wanted, the FAI wanted. I mean, I can see, we can see, I'd say we'd be seeing rugby again in probably September, October.
Okay.
We could do with it badly.
Yeah, we could, of course. Turn it into a worldwide sport in seconds, I'd say they would. So in regards to the recovery plan that the government put out, I know they like, I'm sort of looking at phase 4, phase 5. Like phase 4 for us, I suppose, makes more sense. There might be some private gatherings occurring. Do you have any idea, James? They've mentioned large gatherings returning phase 5. That's really up in the air for me.
I'd say August 10th or something, is it?
10th of August, I think it is. Yeah.
So I don't think. I mean, it is up in the air. I think that's kind of. It's going to be down to the agency, or it's going to be down to the company, or whatever it is, to be able to essentially risk assess whatever they're doing. And if it's within, the parameters of I mean, there's insurance issues as well, of course, but if it's within the parameters of, trying to be as safe as you can and putting everything in place like anything else. But, I think they're kind of more focused on if you have a gathering of over 100 people, whether it's a religious gathering or whether it's like, you can call anything an event, can't you? So whether it's religious gathering, having 2 meters between everyone on seats, but I can't see, large gatherings over at that early. I can't see that happening in around August.
We had a wedding booked in. It's actually, I think it was the 9th of August, the day before phase 5 was about to announce. And that was pulled, one, because for the likes of a wedding, it's too early anyway. It was only 80 people at it, but everybody be like walking on glass nearly. So
you're too anxious. I mean, you couldn't enjoy yourself.
Yeah, so I'd say the whole wedding industry has been pushed out. Any large sort of wedding's been pushed out to 2021, but. They were advised by a TD, I'm not sure what party, but they were advised just to pull it and what she had heard herself. So,
but even if you enjoy it, even if they were told, look, you can have less than 100 people, but you have to do this and you have to do that. It's like anything. It's like trying to say that, we can do an event, but there's going to be social distancing. You're not. It's never. You can do an event with social distancing, but no one's going to enjoy it.
Yeah. What about corporate Christmas parties? I know you do a lot of those.
We do a lot of that, but I don't see it coming back for Christmas. Potentially at a push, maybe, but I think from a corporate social responsibility point of view, I think they'd be quite anxious this year to push it out unless there was, there's a precedent, and things would all want to be almost rocking for 8 or 10 or 12 weeks before they commit to a company commits to something like that. And at that stage, everything should be organised anyway. So I think it may as well ride it off to Christmas. I just can't see it happening. But I can see a new leaf next year. I can see things turning. And I think even by the end of the year, I think everyone will be on top of it. We just learn to live with it.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, like if you're watching around Europe and the rest of the world, Germany, for instance, they're allowing exhibitions in their next wave of reopenings, which is pretty positive, I suppose. But I don't know what sort of route they took. They seem to have they seem to do it quite well. Whatever way they did it, their numbers were really low throughout a few weeks they were locked in. But that gives a glimmer of hope, I think, for.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure there'll be people running exhibitions and there'll be people running events and all that, but they'll be so highly regulated in terms of the movement of them. Are they going to have the impact? I don't think in the next few months, but I think they may be given the green light, but will they have the impact, the brand impact, or the impact for the exhibitor, for the company or whatever it is? I don't know. Are they going to have that in terms of, the investment? Mm. So realistically, Owen, I think it'll be next year.
Yeah.
Can you manage? Don't have
just about.
We've worked on a few of the exhibitions that we've done, and I suppose the key factor everybody wants to know after the exhibition is what were the numbers? What's the footfall? Yeah. So for an exhibition to work, it's going to be a click in, click out, 10 people in at a time, someone clicking them out as they go out. It's not going to get the numbers that you want. When you put on an exhibition, it's about how many you can get in through the doors that see everything. So it's not really a win-win. It's, yes, you're putting on the show, but are you getting the numbers, which is the obvious outcome that everyone wants?
Probably doing it for the sake of it. I mean, we wouldn't be an advocate for it anyway at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if it can be done to to be honest with you, I'd be surprised if any suppliers or anybody like that are even going to invest. We do another conference or exhibition ourselves at the end of August, which is still, at the moment it's on the cards, but it would be capable. Their numbers are something like 1,500 people over 3 or 4 days. So if you break that down, 300 or 400 people a day, it might work, and there's a lot of area to cover. Mm. So if there's any sort of, I suppose, live event or any sort of mass gathering of some sort that will be introduced again, I'd say trade shows from an events point of view will be the first thing back.
Yeah, probably. And people would have to, there's the other side to it. People have the hunger for it as well. People want to, get out there and do something. So there is the element of the hunger for it as well. But it's just about, is the investment going to make sense for the brand or whoever our client is? That's the reality. That's your own one you do, is it, Owen?
Yeah, well, no, we work on behalf of our client. Okay. It's a furniture trade show.
Yeah, that's kind of more, that would probably work because it's specialised, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's a pretty big project. It'd be, if it goes ahead, it'd benefit us a lot. But obviously, it's still up in the air at the moment. Keelan, I wanted to ask you. I follow you a bit on Instagram. How are you enjoying working from home?
Look, for me, I enjoy being in the office.
Some job in that garden.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't do anything on it. Like, it's getting him in from the garden. That's the problem.
I'm known as DIY Keelan now at the moment. Look, it's a bit of crack. I'm back at home, back in Galway, enjoying it. I do personally prefer the office environment. I think it's much easier to zone out. You don't have someone walking in asking you, do you want a coffee? You know what I mean? It's just, there's too many distractions I find at home. Personally, I like being in the office. I like having my own space. I like just tuning into work and that's it. But then again, there's only been a select amount of work, I suppose, during this time. A lot of the gigs that I do are all mass gatherings, as you know, with festivals and parades and Riverfest, that kind of stuff. So all that's been put on the back burner for the moment. So I suppose work for me has slowed down, where the rest of the company are all doing the digital kind of stuff. To me, an event is always a gathering of people. That's what an event is. I am really looking forward for events coming back, back live rather than virtual. But to answer the question, I prefer the office environment. I just feel you can zone out. You can zone out of your personal life and just get stuck into work, and that's it. So I'm looking forward to us heading back to the office.
Yeah, I've heard from a few people, that they're actually preferring the way their lifestyle has sort of changed. Like a lot of people are exercising a lot more, and they don't have an hour or two commute every single day. So every cloud is a silver line, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose the benefits of this whole situation is we now know that the system works. We're busy all the time in the office. Everybody's busy. James now knows that it works from home. So if someone wants, potentially James might say, okay, you can work from home on the Friday, start that weekend. Because some people are living out and will say an hour and a half commute in and out. That's 3 hours a day. It's a lot when you're in Dublin. So I suppose that's the benefit that might come out of it at the end, subject to each company. But they might say, right, you might be allowed to work from home 1 day a week, that kind of thing. If that happens, I can see it for the people that have the long commutes as a huge bonus and a huge benefit. Yeah.
Good luck with those sick days, I'd say, James. It won't be, I say, anybody feigning off with a cough or something won't be happening anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, they're going to, they're any sign of a cough or a sneeze, especially on a Monday morning, after Keelan's hangover, like. There'll be a bit of coughing and spluttering coming into the office.
Yeah. And what about yourself, James? How are you finding working from home?
I love it. I mean, I've no issue. There's a kind of a bit of a chalet outside the house, so it's grand. It's perfect for me. It's got fibre broadband. We've got my own space here. So I actually find it. I find it I'm loving it. The only side, obviously, is kind of the interaction with the team, a bit of crack. You can have a lot more crack, obviously, if you're up around the office. But from personal family's point of view, it's working well for me. But at the same time, you kind of want to get stuck back into it. It's the events I want to get back into. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Kind of so.
You're not being kept up in the middle of the night like myself, so I can't stand the whole thing.
Oh, you've got a young child, have you?
Sorry, no, I don't know, but I'm just, just thinking about work. I suppose. Our business is only a couple of years old, whereas you seem to have it figured out.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, come on, it's very difficult. I mean, the reality from a financial point of view, no one's going to be making any money this year. It's going to be losing money. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
But, no matter what they say, virtual or non, or whatever people are doing, they're doing things, to be innovative or trying. But there's no money being made from our point of view. The supports from the government, where we're all lobbying now at the moment to try and get them extended, because obviously the event industry will be the last to recover, realistically.
Yeah, first out, last in.
Yeah, so...
over in the UK, they're expected to lose something like £58 billion, the event industry.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it's, the event industry is something like worth about £6 billion to the economy, or €6 billion to the economies in Ireland or something like that.
But yeah.
You can imagine 99% of that's probably gone down the drain as well.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, I'm very confident next year we'll be doing double the work, double the events, and people are really, maybe not, over the next 16, 20 months, it's really, and then we'll have moved on. There'll be something else. We'll hit another challenge in a few years' time. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. I wonder for next year as well. I wonder, if twice the amount of work is going to come on top of us now next year. How's everyone going to manage it? Will we have to just double the workforce or what? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to find out.
Just double the work. Could be working twice as hard, and that's the thing about at the moment. I mean, I know people are getting a bit fed up with kind of being stuck at home and kind of taking time out at the moment and kind of reflecting on this then when you're working twice as hard and going, well, look, to be fair, I had 3 months, 4 months doing nothing in 2020. So now I'm going to get double it up. But yeah, there will be a resources kind of, when things do spike, I think from a resources point of view, there will be a challenge there as well, So how are you getting on in terms of like have you like rented space and kind of, have you a lot of overheads essentially like being off, or how's it working for you?
Yeah, well, luckily enough, we got our rents frozen, like our office rents and our warehouse rents frozen.
Brilliant.
Up until June, and then it's been reassessed.
Yeah.
I don't really know how we're gonna. I suppose we just have to jump that fence when we get to it. But that, in a way, that was it was a help. Then regards, like I'm the only person working. I have to come back into the office because I just wasn't getting enough done back at home. So
yeah.
At least I'm getting some use out of, and I'm the only person here as well. So other than that, like everything else, the banks, in fairness to the banks, they've actually been a lot more helpful than they have in the past. Like in vehicle insurance is the only thing we're really paying if I have that, if I'm right with that. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely vehicle insurance. And I think everything else is more or less being frozen for indefinitely,
Yeah, well, I think even the vehicle insurance, I think, you can even, there's a case to be made there as well to try and manage that as well. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if you tried or whatever, but even there's a case to be made on that. But look, the reality is, look, people will generally work with you in times like this. I haven't heard of many cases now of people getting, pinned to the collar, or people being put under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I don't think we have, whether the power is within, I don't think anybody would have the heart to really do that to small business or big business. I don't really know, but I'd be surprised if there was, financial pressure being put on business in the current situation. Do you think there's any sort of similarities between this and the recession back in 08 or 09? You played through that, didn't you?
Yeah. So similarities.
Like business was obviously slow, I'd imagine, but it's, is there anything similar, I suppose?
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of similar. Look, the similarities are every single kind of problem seems worse than seems worse than the one before. That's the reality of it. This one seems worse than the one before, but I actually think that with the recession, I think we knew we were in for a long haul. Like that's one thing with the recession. I think I was kind of going, okay, this is going to be. It's almost like it's going to be baby steps to kind of recovery. Because everyone was crashed out, like banks, there's no liquidity. Everything was crashed out. I personally, from my point of view, I think that's a lot different in terms of this one is like, hopefully it's kind of going to be a spike, but we knew back then that there was it's going to be 3-4 years to any kind of growth or, so we were looking into a hard, long slog. But I can see a bit of it's a different, may play out a bit differently here because it's something beyond our control from a health perspective. Before it was like, it was just,
it's all incompetence.
It was incompetence that created it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not. No one could really do much about it, but then it was just incompetence by financial institutions that drained it. But this time I think people are more, there's a bit of a more community feel to this one. It felt like people were all on their own back in the recession.
Yeah.
2008 when everyone was in fight for themselves. But I think there's a bit of a more collaborative feel about this and a bit of a more community edge to it. Even what you were saying about kind of companies, like within the same industry coming together to work together to move on and be more positively to collaborate and grow together and get over it. What do we need to do together? Whereas back in the recession, it was like, right, okay, what do I need to do here? How do I need to get out of this? Whereas it's kind of a bit of a more of a community feel about this time around.
Yeah. It's good to see a lot of the companies innovating as well. Like even events companies, you've seen a lot of guys producing, flat pack furniture, and then there's a lot of companies making like alcohol sanitizer. So yeah, it's good to see it still going. It's make sure it stays alive in some sort of way. But so I suppose like if you had any advice that you could give to, I suppose any company in our sort of bracket, say like 2 or 3 years old, or even companies that have been around a while that are going to struggle now for the rest of the year, what would it be, do you reckon?
Well, you have to manage your outgoings. That's the first thing anyway, to manage what you can in terms of your outgoings. And once you can manage that and try and keep your obviously from our point of view, to keep our key members, team guys together. Our people are what make us. But it's just managing your outgoings, managing as much as you can in terms of what your costs are, and trying to innovate, trying to do something. Maybe the big word going around is pivot. That's the big term. Like what's the last big term is engage. Now we're to pivot. So
you say manage your outgoings there. I don't know how you have your wage bill structured or whatever, but surely you can't be expected to pay full wages for the foreseeable future, can you?
Well, no, but I mean, obviously the government supports help, but we will be, there is, I mean, for the moment, we're pretty good in terms of, we still have an income, like we are still, like we do a lot of digital, we do a lot of design, we do a lot of, we work with our clients in terms of developing, brand. And so, look, we're not making any money. We're not losing a lot, but there's still income there to try and keep the right people, keep people motivated and keep people within reason. That's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So, it might give us, but we obviously, everyone needs to see a turn, which was going to happen. I'm confident of that. But as you were saying earlier, manage your outgoings, your rent, freeze your rent, get on top of it. Don't bury your head in the sand. Think about, right, who do I need to pay? They'll work with you. And that's why there's such a good community feel about what's happening at the moment. I don't know how long that's going to last. But people are generally fairly compassionate when they can be. So your guy is freezing your rent, your landlord. I mean, you just got to talk to him, keep him up to date. He understands what's going on. He can see, like, you're an entrepreneur. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can see that in you, and that's what people need to get behind, because that's what drives everybody. That's what drives the economy. That's what drives where we're at, and people have compassion for that. So you're there. You're building your company like us. We're driving it. And people have respect for that. And once you're straight with people, and once you're being honest with them, and once you're saying, right, you can see there's a pandemic. What can we do together to try and get over this?
Yeah.
Advice, like, don't bury your head. Talk to people. Like, talk to who you are.
And that's what this is all about, really. I'm going to try and reach out to. It's one about meeting new people, but one of the main things I want to do this talk and discussion is to just learn from others and try and figure out what everyone's doing in this situation. And it'll be, I suppose, better to bring it forward and continue these discussions into the future.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, look, you're innovating yourself, even what you're doing at the moment.
Sure.
That's what it's about. So you're thinking of other ways to communicate, or how do we talk? Like, that's what it's all about. So sitting on your laurels and kind of, I mean, it's hard to be positive about it, but to try and innovate in terms of creating, right, how do we try and make something productive out of this, or how do we, work to try and not necessarily spend money, but how do we do something innovative to get us out of this or get to the next stage, or make our company better. Like, it's not all about money to make the company better. It might be collaboration, or it might be, okay, guys, well, let's have a think, brains, whatever it may be. So, or diversify slightly. I wouldn't be diversifying too much.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same. I was like, I don't know why I wouldn't completely change the business direction, let's say, or the business model to just suit this virus. So.
Exactly.
To a certain degree, but it'll work for some people. It won't work for everybody, I don't think. But
no, I mean, people get into panic diversification as well. So they go, okay, quick, we need to flip everything. But I mean, you need to try and diversify within your own offerings and what you're good at, or what you think you're good at.
That was definitely me in the first fucking 2 weeks. And I'd set up like an online store flipping like soap dispensers, and I just fucking lost it in the end. I couldn't have it, and then I just started losing my patience altogether. So that's where this baby fucking came from.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I have to every day is a school day.
Oh, that's absolutely classic.
But anyways, lads, I say we'll finish it there. Thanks a million for taking your time taking your Friday evening to come out and have a chat.
Yeah, come here. We'll hook up with you. Want to talk to you about other things in the next few days. Give us a shout, will you?
Excellent, I will do.
Yeah, do that. Make sure you do.
Keelan, James, thanks a million.
Good man.
Thank you.